Hello and welcome to Inenco's Energy News Update. This week we'll be looking at the latest action aimed at ensuring long-term energy security for the UK. The government has awarded licences for the development of massive offshore wind farms as part of the drive to meet its 2020 renewable energy targets. This move has received widespread welcome, but concerns have been raised about whether the wind power industry is ready to take on such a huge project. But first, an update on the continuing issues of gas supply that were covered last week. With the National Grid issuing its fourth gas balancing alert, the questions over the security of our gas supplies have hit the top of the political agenda. Last week, Gordon Brown tried to reassure a nervous public in his weekly podcast, saying that there was no danger of supplies running out. Many people have voiced concerns over the extent the UK may have to depend on imported gas supplies in order to meet increased demand, and to question what impact that would have on price. Nick, now we've had 4 of these alerts, are we still confident that there is enough gas?
Yes, we are. Demand for gas has remained very high, as you would expect with the cold weather, as it has carried on. It's really been the same issue behind each of the alerts. We're not getting the amount of gas that we would normally expect from Norway, but that's because of technical issues rather than there isn't enough gas out there.
So does this mean that perhaps we're too reliant on imported gas?
Let's not forget that many countries import the vast majority of the gas they use. At the same time, whilst we'll be able to meet our demand, we may see prices increasing as a result of heightened competition in the global market. The market reaction has been more muted than it was when the first alert was issued way back in 2006. This year, the highest price we saw within day was 62 pence per therm, but in 2000 it reached a staggering £2 per therm. We think that this has been because big users have responded much more quickly to reduce consumption and switch to alternative fuels. Of course, in 2006, the economy was much stronger than it is at the moment. There is some concern about how we would cope with this type of cold weather once we see a recovery going into full swing.
Is enough being done to make sure that this doesn't happen again?
We're seeing a big growth in the amount of LNG that we can bring into this country. This is going to make a real significant difference in the future. But we need to look seriously at our gas storage capabilities, which are currently lagging behind our European neighbours. Last year, we saw that a number of new gas storage developments were cancelled as a result of the economic downturn. Hopefully, however, as the economy begins to recover, these projects can be restarted. The other question we have to ask, though, is not how reliant we are going to be on imported gas, but how reliant we are on gas overall as our major energy source. Our homes, businesses and our generation industry have seen gas as a cheaper, cleaner fuel, so perhaps we should be looking at ways of reducing that dependence.
On Friday, Gordon Brown announced that licences for the development of £100 billion worth of offshore wind generation have been awarded. Once completed, these projects are targeted to produce approximately 32 gigawatts of electricity, almost a quarter of the UK's current electricity requirements. This is seen as an important step in the UK meeting its pledge to generate 15% of all its energy from renewable sources by 2020. Nick, you've just talked about reducing our reliance on gas, so this must come as welcome news.
Yes, in the longer term, these developments are important for both energy security and meeting our carbon reduction targets. There are, however, some significant concerns that have to be overcome.
So what sort of concerns are people raising?
Well, firstly, there is the issue that wind turbines stop working if the wind is both too gentle or too strong. Alongside wind farms, another 14 gig of gas-fired plants have to be approved as backup. It's likely that in the winter, when strong winds come with cold weather, these gas-fired plants will have to be running, so our reliance on gas will still be pretty high. The other concerns are straightforward practical ones about the availability of the number of turbines and the skilled labour force needed to get them into place. We have to remember that it's not just about the turbines themselves. The electricity grid will have to be developed substantially. It's going to be a massive project, as the £100 billion price tag suggests.
So would you say that we will have less secure energy because of the intermittent nature of wind power?
Now, the intermittent nature of wind isn't going to prevent us from accessing the benefits that can be reaped from improved security of supply. The UK is in a very well-placed position to harness the offshore wind power. What is envisaged by the wind project is that it will cover up to about a quarter of the UK's power requirements. Wind should be viewed as one part of a diverse range of technologies, including nuclear, that will be used to decrease our dependence on imported fossil fuels and help us meet our emissions reduction targets.
That's all for this week's edition of Inenco's Energy News Update. From Nick and myself, goodbye.